Are you struggling with feeling unsafe? Here in the UK, there have been riots and conflicts and violence that seems to be subsiding, but has been really intense for a few days, creating a lot of risk and harm, and a lot of people are feeling unsafe, regardless of whether they're directly affected or indirectly. I also know that people in the States, there's a lot going on there as well now, and obviously has been, in terms of minorities and threats of violence and actual violence. And also this is something that we're seeing also in Europe and other parts of the world. So in this video, I want to talk about feeling unsafe in the world. And drawing on what's been going on and what is going on, we are definitely in a swell of conflict, of different values and beliefs clashing or coming together. So as humans, we tend to be affected by anything that is about groups and group dynamics. So I want to bring in the ABC technique. That is one of the key techniques in the first aid for feelings. And the ABC technique is about that kind of first aid response. So in terms of medical first aid, it's airways, breathing and circulation. In terms of first aid for feeling, it's awareness, breath, body and choice. So first of all, awareness is key before we can change anything. So how are you being affected by what's going on? And becoming aware, in this moment, I am feeling unsafe. Or in this moment, I'm feeling angry or I'm feeling threatened. So whatever it is, actually naming how you're feeling, naming what is going on. So that's the A, becoming aware. We then go to the B, so the breath and body. So it's about doing something with your breath, changing the ratio of oxygen and carbon dioxide in your system, or giving your lungs a bit of a workout to kind of shift the biochemistry in your body. And then doing something with your body itself. So let's do that together. I'll do a 5-7 breathing 3 times. So that's when we breathe into the count of 5 and breathe out to the count of 7. We'll do that 3 times together. So breathing in, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathing out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. Giving your lungs a bit of a bumper space in between. And then for the second time, breathing in, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathing out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. Bit of bumper space again between the breaths. And then the third and final time, breathing in, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathing out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. And then giving your lungs space to do whatever they need. It might be a big breath. It might be a small one. Whatever it feels that your lungs need. And then noticing what you want to do with your body. Do you want to roll your shoulders? Do you want to stretch? Do you want to scrunch up your face? Or just ease some of the tension in your eyebrows and your jaw? Shuffling your sitting bones if you're sitting down. Maybe just giving your toes a bit of a twiggle. Feel your feet on the floor, whether you're sitting or standing, if you can. Whatever affects in terms of your feet, if you're not able to, or you've got a disability that means your feet or legs function differently or not there. Just noticing anything else you want to do with your body that gives you a sense of being in your body as much as feels okay for you. So that was the B in the ABC. We then move on to C. We move on to choice. So in this situation, in this moment, it's helpful to have 2 aspects going on. One is a practical one. Whenever we feel unsafe, we need to look at, well, is the threat present? Is it in this moment? Do I need to take any measures? Like for example, here in the UK, some people had to close their businesses early or work from home. Are there practical actions they need taking to address the feeling of feeling safe in the world? So that's kind of the external, the practical thing. Then coming to the inside, coming to, okay, so what is it that's going on in terms of the inside of my experience? And it can be helpful to check in with your sense of community. For example, people who are Muslim, people who are black or brown, are feeling more threatened, feeling more unsafe than, for example, me who's white. So I've got a different sense of feeling unsafe in the world because my skin color is different. So is there a community for you to connect in with? Are you tuned in with the people who share your, for example, your minority or your aspect in a way that you can get a sense of that you're not alone, that this is not an experience that's unique to you. It's a shared experience across the people who share those characteristics with you. And then there's also a sense of what are my beliefs and which beliefs am I watering or nurturing? So do I believe fundamentally that I'm unsafe in the world? Or do I feel like there are periods or there are occasions or circumstances of unsafety, but actually I believe that there's also good in the world? So am I watering the seeds of fear, or am I watering the seeds of trust? So watering the seeds is a concept that I draw from Buddhism, and it's in terms of gardening. Are you watering the seeds of the plants that you want to nourish and cultivate, or are you watering the seeds of the weeds? There's also in the Native American tradition, there's also about which wolf are you feeding? Are you feeding the wolf of hope and trust and love? Are you feeding the wolf of despair and fear? So that kind of, what are you consuming lots of news that is amplifying your fear, or you're noticing all the scary things that are going on, or are you actually also noticing the community? There are so many of us coming together in community, showing up in solidarity, either on the streets or in more personal actions. So what are you noticing a balance? Are you noticing both, or do you just focus on the fear? Remember that our brain is wired to prioritize the scary things over the comforting things. So that's something just to really be mindful of in terms of what are you noticing, and what is it sort of cultivating or amplifying within your own experience. So that's in terms of the choice. What are you choosing? Where am I choosing to place my focus? Yeah, that's very much the choice part. And then the final part of that, well, what will help you embed or really strengthen that choice so you can help lean into it? So writing down reminders, taking actions to message a friend, or making sure that you are reminding yourself of, all the allies in the world, all the good stuff that's happening. But also things like, smiling to neighbors, or caring for the minorities that are feeling threatened. Whether that's, in the current, in the UK, in the current context in terms of Muslims, but also there's a rise in anti-Semitism, so Jewish friends, or, any other faith groups or ethnicities or other minorities in general, whether that's gender, sexuality, disability, just being mindful that, we live in a world where there isn't just a majority where everybody sits, that actually there's a kaleidoscope of different ways and experiences in the world. And how can I show my willingness to be connected with that? My final thought is in terms of how we see when there's a clash, and how we internalize that, and how we meet that kind of when people show up with behaviors that we find scary or threatening. So my message, and this is based on my belief system, is always, always, always be really firm on that behavior is not okay. So zero tolerance towards a behavior that is destructive or harmful. However, also then to remember to bring in compassion to the person who's doing that behavior. That behavior will be born out of context, out of causes and conditions that may or may not be visible to us. And the reason I really want to emphasize that at the end of this video is so that it's something that we bear in mind, that we don't judge blindly, that we're really firm on what's okay and not okay, and then also recognizing the human being who's almost certainly, influenced in some way to do that behavior. Both because it fosters a sense of community, and it's like, what seeds am I watering, or what wolf am I feeding? That sense of community, and that we all belong to humanity at the end of the day, or mankind. But also because when I'm able to see beyond the behavior, when I can see that behavior is not okay, and behind that behavior is a person, and I may or may not know the reasons for why they've done that behavior, is I can confer that, I can then transpose that to myself when I do behaviors that I'm not okay with, that I can go, that behavior is not okay, and how can I be kind to myself and the aspects of me, the parts of me that actually drove the behavior that isn't okay, or that I'm not okay with. So coming to the end of this video, drawing together, summarizing what I've been talking about. First of all, becoming aware of how it feels to feel unsafe. Recognizing this is my feeling, this is my experience in this moment. Come into your breath and body, whether it's the 5-7 breathing, the 4x4 breathing, or any other way of alternating or affecting your breath, and therefore your biochemistry. And that this actually brings down the adrenaline, and that helps to give you more access to the parts of your brain that can think in bigger picture terms. And then when you come to choice, thinking just what practical things do I need to do to help myself be actually physically safe in the reality that's going on here. And then looking on the inside, am I connecting with my community? What are the beliefs I'm bringing in here? What seeds am I watering? Which wolves am I feeding? And then finally, recognizing with a compassionate mind that we can be really firm and condemn behavior. So zero tolerance toward behavior, but also then be compassionate to the person who's then dealing with the causes and conditions that brought that behavior into being, but also the consequences of having done that behavior, and dealing with, for example, being arrested or imprisoned because of that, or being shamed or being excluded from society because of that. So at the end, I really hope that this has been helpful. If you want to find out more about first aid for feelings, if you want to find out more about working with me and how to be with feeling unsafe or difficult emotions, do get in touch. I'd be curious to hear how you are feeling this, so do comment if you can on this post below or on this video. And as always, remember, it's more helpful to be curious than critical. And as much as you're able to, be kind and gentle with yourself.